community shows up for things like this. We are thrilled today to be joined by a lot of special folks, but I want to start off my remarks by just thanking the high school and the Great Falls Public Schools, Heather Hoyer and your whole team. Thank you so much for helping us make this day possible by providing this beautiful space and this wonderful opportunity. Many of you may know NeighborWorks. We've been around for 45 years helping folks into home ownership and doing what we can in our community to help it grow and be revitalized block by block. But part of that and what we're here today to talk about are the trades in the High School House program. The High School House program started when Nancy O'Brien went to the schools and said, hey, I think there's this idea of students constructing a house. Student construction classes and shop classes have been going on all over the nation, but she had a really unique opportunity to see one in Pocatello. And the school was a little bit doubtful about it at the time, so she took the school district to Pocatello to see what they were doing. And she thought it would take a few years to kind of really bring it all together. The very next fall was the first high school house, and we haven't stopped building since. So this year marks the 48th high school house that we're building in our community. So give a round of applause for our student builders. I wonder if there's any former builders that are in the audience today. If you raise your hand, if you're a former student builder that you might be in the audience today, thank you for helping with our community. But we had a great opportunity. We've had a long relationship with Wells Fargo, and so they approached us because of some of their initiatives and their relationships, and they said, we think we want to highlight your high school house program and your community. So I'd like to bring up Allison Hawkins, the External Relations Director from Wells Fargo.
I actually know what Pocatello is. I grew up about an hour from there. Very tiny town called Arco, Idaho. If you ever go to the Craters of the Moon, you'll pass through. There's like 4 houses there, mine was one of them. So yeah, I grew up in a small town in Idaho, and that's why these programs are so near and dear to my heart personally. There's 3 classes I really enjoyed in high school: PE, choir, and shop. And poor Mr. Cummins had the patience of Job working with me in shop class when I get the welder stuck and they'd get it cleaned out. But he had a really significant impression on my life that these skills were really valuable and really important. The mistake was back then, though, this was a long time ago, I'm old, this is 20 years ago, was that trade jobs and skilled trade jobs were a second option. College was way better, right? I did go to college, it was a great option. But you know what's a great option? Getting a skill and getting a trade. And it's a really, really good option. At a minimum, you learn one of these skills, you'll become a very useful person. At maximum, you can be a very prosperous person through learning these trades and doing things like building homes for people. So we are really happy to support this program. We're really happy that this program is really flourishing here in Montana. So with that, we want to announce today that we're going to provide $200,000 to the NeighborWorks. Program can continue and flourish. It's so valuable. It's so valuable both to this community and to the students. So thank you, Sherry. Thank you, NeighborWorks. And also to the governor and Mike Rowe. One of the things, like I just mentioned, it's the Lord's work preaching that skilled trades are of value. And we have to change the mindset of people. And so thank you to people like the governor and to people like Mike Rowe that are making that possible and presenting these skilled trades careers as great options for students well into the future. So thank you, Sherry. Thank you, High School House. All you students, you're amazing. The house looks amazing. We're really proud of what you do. With that, I'll turn it back to you, Sherry.
Thank you so very much. Something like that would not be possible without our relationships that we have in our community and the synergy that we have between NeighborWorks Great Falls, the public schools, the Home Builders Association, and all of the industry and construction companies in our community that year after year shows up for different things for the high school house to make sure it keeps going. And we wanted to take this opportunity today to have a discussion about the trades and to have a discussion with some experts in the field to give us their perspective on the nationwide, on the statewide, and then be able to share what we are simply doing in our community and how we're making it work. So we are blessed to have some special guests today. So I want to first invite up Governor Gianforte. As we all know, he started his first business in high school. Governor Greg Gianforte has spent his career creating jobs. After 34 years in the private sector, he devoted himself to be elected governor. And to work in the service for us as the 25th governor. Under his leadership, more Montanans have worked more than ever before. Unemployment is at a record low, and the state has set new records in jobs and business creation. We know that this is his passion and his drive in our community. But more importantly, we want to welcome his wife, Susan, who's also able to join us today. Wells Fargo's partnership, they have brought us a very special guest today to talk about kind of trades on the national level. So Mike Rowe, would you join us too? Mike Rowe is an Emmy Award-winning television host, a producer, narrator, podcaster, author, and leading advocate for the American skills trades. As CEO of Mike Rowe Works Foundation, he has awarded nearly $7 million in work ethic scholarships and spearheaded a national effort to reintroduce shop classes into the high schools. So, thank you, Well, we wouldn't be anywhere without the local experts in the trades and for the high school house. So we have a special panelist today, Caleb Stringer. He's an alumni of the high school house. He is 23 and he graduated from C.M. Russell in 2020, and he was a builder for the 43rd high school house. And now works for Scott. And probably the person that all of you turned out today that you know well, our community hero, Pete Pace. Come forward. Program for 15. So like I said, we wanted to take this opportunity to talk about a few questions about what we're seeing in the trades and why our program here is so important. So I'm going to start off with you, Mike. Through your TV show, Dirty Jobs, and Somebody's Got to Do It, you've seen a lot of trades close up, and now with the Mike Rowe Works Foundation, you're running campaigns across the country, pointing out how successful people's lives can be in the trades. Students here in Great Falls who might be thinking about careers, what would you say are the selling points of why the trades need to become more of a front-line position versus the second-line position that they've been relegated to with the push toward higher education?
You came in there pretty hot, didn't you? Right out of the gate. Big questions, big ideas. I have some thoughts on that. First, thanks for inviting me to this. It's an extraordinary house I just got a tour of, and meeting the people who built it. And you have so much to be proud of. A guy named Joe just gave me a hat that says, Build Montana, and I feel terrible for not wearing it because a guy up the road in Frenchtown gave me this hat, which says Montana Knife Company. And some of you might know Josh Smith, but he started making knives in your state during the lockdowns. He was a lineman, and now he has an extraordinary business because he mastered a skill that was in demand. And this guy has a specific knife he did for my foundation, and he contributes a percentage of sales back. And in no time, we've raised over $150,000 for these work ethic scholarships, just because people love knives and they want to buy something that triggers something. So I'm really torn, so I had to wear it at least for a minute. But Joe, I'll put this on now just to shut you up, because I know I'm going to get all kinds of grief if I don't. Now you can take your picture of Bill Montana. It's good. What's the question again? I'm kidding. I know that. I know the question. I know the answer. What are the selling points to pursue a career in the trades? 17 years ago, when I started NeighborWorks, the answer would have been different, and I would have framed it different. In fact, maybe 10 years ago, I would have still been talking about, it in terms of challenging stereotypes and literally selling it to you. That's the word you used. And we do have to make a more persuasive case for the trades in our country. That's absolutely true, because a whole generation of kids has been brought up to believe that if they don't get a 4-year degree, they're kind of screwed. And that's ridiculous. So we absolutely have to turn that on its head. The good news is it's now easier to do that than ever. In part because the math is on the side of the tradespeople. 5 tradesmen will retire this year, and 2 will replace them. It's been that way for over a decade. 5 out, 2 in. So we're dealing with a shortage just purely in mathematical numbers, and that's enormous. We're also dealing with 7.6 million open positions in the country right now, most of which don't require a 4-year degree, and people are getting up to speed with that. We're also dealing with the fact that we have $1.7 trillion of student loans currently on the books. Most of that debt is held by kids who graduated with a 4-year degree but aren't working in their chosen field and for whatever reason aren't able to pay that debt off. We also have 6.9 million able-bodied men for whatever reason are not only not working but not looking for work. All of these things are bad for the country, but if there's a silver lining, it's the spotlight that it now has forced onto the opportunities that have always been there right under our nose. Many of you probably don't know who Jensen Huang is. He's the CEO of a little company called NVIDIA, which I believe is now a $5 trillion company. $5 trillion. This is the guy on the cutting edge of AI. He's building the chips that are going to usher in this next revolution. This morning, and you can Google it, he's out there, his face is on a meme, and the quote goes like this: "The next generation of millionaires in this country will consist primarily of plumbers and electricians." Now, I've been saying that for 17 years, but I don't run a $5 trillion company. I run a little foundation called NeighborWorks. But when the headlines and the trillionaires catch up to somebody like me, it's time to pay attention and wear the hat that spells out the message. It's not just Montana that needs to be built. It's every state in this country. It's every zip code in this country. We need a revival. We need to reinvigorate the trades in a way that proves, to your point, that proves the opportunities are real. And the best way to do that, in my view, is through partnerships like the one you just laid out, right? A 45-year track record around what you're doing, combined with local high schools, combined with kids who are willing to pick up a hammer and learn that skill. And then most importantly, a finished product, a house that speaks for itself and stands there for everybody to look at and see. The evidence demands a verdict. That's my answer. That's what I would say to people today who are trying to figure out whether or not it's worth their time. Come to Great Falls, look at what they're building, look at who's building it, look at how they're doing it, and then ask yourself, what does your hat say?
What happens if that trend doesn't change? Especially for the positions like welders and electricians, what happens when that trend doesn't change?
Where does this building come from? You know, we're so obsessed sometimes with getting into the corner office, we forgot to celebrate how the corner office is built. And that's what all this is coming back down to. This is only a matter of national security. The governor knows better than I do, but not a week goes by that my foundation doesn't get a phone call from some leader in some industry who is having a freak out. Like the Maritime Industrial Base called about a year ago. That's 16,000 individual companies who are collectively charged with building 3 nuclear-powered subs every year and delivering them to the Navy, right? Your question is, what happens if we don't deliver 3 nuclear-powered subs a year to our Navy? Well, subs are the tip of the spear in this world. It's critically important. I said to the guy, well, what can I do for you? He said, I'm trying to hire tradesmen and I'm having a heck of a time. I said, how many do you need? He said, 250,000. 250,000. Now, that's over the next 7, 8 years, but they need 80,000 now, right now. And they said, we've looked anywhere. Do you have any idea of where they are? And I said, yeah, I know exactly where they are. They're in the 8th grade. That's where they are. That's why what you're doing here is critically important. I got the same phone call from the automotive industry. They got 80,000 openings in technician repair and auto body work, collision and so forth. AI, forget it, hundreds of thousands. Energy, Larry Fink, BlackRock, this guy, I don't know if you've heard of him. I didn't ever think I'd get a phone call from him. He's in charge of $12 trillion today, and he needs 500,000 electricians. But my message is that if you're in this line of work right now, you're going to get swept up in a revival unlike anything I'm old enough to remember. This is the next Manhattan Project, getting our country back to work, reinvigorating the trades. It's truly a matter of national security. And we ignore that at our peril.
Wow, what a sobering thought and a great transition to our state focus. And Governor Gianforte, you know, he has had many strong initiatives, a can-do governor with housing, with workforce, with the trades. That's not a question, that's just a fact. The question, though, comes, you signed into law in 2021 the Montana Trades Education Credit to provide financial support for students seeking trades education and tax credit for businesses that employ those receiving skilled trades education. Why was the bill so critical to strengthen Montana's workforce, and how have you seen it make a difference?
Well, it's great to be here, and Sherry, thank you so much for what NeighborWorks does, and seeing the 48th house, that's a big deal, it really is. And sitting next to Mike Rowe, the guy who made dirty jobs cool, you know, working at it for 17 years, and you're right, the world's finally caught up with you, Mike. I get to travel the whole state. I speak with business owners, whether they're construction, high tech, all these different industries. The number one issue is workforce. So we wanted to make it easier for employers and employees to create that union. So this MTech, this technical education credit, is something I signed into law during the first legislative session back in 2021. It was one of our top priorities. And what it does is it says to an employer, if you want to build your workforce, the state will be your partner. We'll give you $2,000 a year per employee to pay up to 50% of the tuition to go to trade school. And as a result, we've had hundreds of people take advantage of this and upskill so they can pursue the American dream, which is really what it's about. It's getting a job where you can earn a living, where you can buy a home and raise a family, and that's why we did it.
Put that to work. That's awesome. Got one more question for the governor. You spoke at the Reagan Economic Forum in May. You talked about the home building challenge in Montana with too much demand and not enough qualified builders. Are some here are considering going into the carpentry, plumbing, electrical, wiring? What do programs like the High School House program mean to the state and the need for the housing supply we're currently facing?
Well, Mike and I were on the radio this morning, and I said, when I travel the state, I go into shop classes, and I say, hey, stop with the birdhouses. Let's build real homes. And that's what NeighborWorks is doing. And it does a number of things, NeighborWorks. First, creates housing. We don't have enough houses. The affordability crisis is primarily a supply problem. We don't have enough houses. If you want more houses, you need more carpenters, plumbers, and electricians. And NeighborWorks is helping with that. So not only are you providing homes, but you're upskilling the students. And it was such a pleasure. I just did chatting with them. I said, so what'd you like about this project? And you could see the pride and ownership. It was like, I framed that wall. You know, and they're never going to forget that experience. And a number of the students, just in chatting with them, a number of them are seniors, they're planning to go into the construction trades, which is going to help us with housing affordability, and it's going to create livelihoods for them. So it was a pleasure to be at the Reagan Library. It's quite a cool place. They actually have the old Air Force One in the museum. And it was because of the work we did on housing affordability. We learned two things. Housing affordability there's two issues. One, we don't have enough supply, I mentioned that. But it's also 40% of the cost of a new home is government regulations. It's restricted zoning, it's difficult to getting permits, and I always say I'm with the government and I'm here to stay out of your way. Let's let people buy homes. Let's let people use their property. And even the national press has referred to what we've done in Montana with auxiliary dwelling units, duplexes anywhere you could put a single family home, eliminating minimum lot sizes, putting money into water and sewer infrastructure and low interest loans, particularly for workforce housing. All of this stuff has been referred to by national publications as the Montana Miracle. We are also referred to as the anti-California. I was kind of proud of that. But we've seen in our largest communities that were really had tight supply, we've seen rents come down double digits as the supply has increased. So we're actually moving the needle. It's not a solved problem yet, but we're certainly making progress.
Well, that's a wonderful segue to what's happening locally, because we are trying to move the needle. We have done a lot. We've got some great partners in our community, and most all are just great supporters of the High School House program. We just came from the High School House. We had a small we kicked off a new tradition by having the students, the builders, sign the wall as a new tradition. And as we welcome a alumni of the program, we have a couple of questions for you to talk about the local impact of what we're doing. So what inspired you, Caleb, to go into the trades, and what are you doing now with it?
Well, like most kids, I had no idea what I wanted to do after I got out of high school, and took the class my senior year, and going there every day, building a little section of that house, and then at the end of the year looking back and seeing something that we built and taking pride in what that was, kind of like these guys said. It's really what made me fall in love with it and inspired me to choose the trades, and yeah.
That's awesome. So the man beside you has had many folks come through those classes and go into the trades now. And so Pete, I want to talk about what you think about what you're doing and shaping the future, and what your trades mean to you and what you're doing.
Well, thank you, Governor Gianforte, Mike Rowe. Wow, sitting here with these fine gentlemen. Wow. Thank you, Caleb, for coming back, and thank you, Sherry. The trades are so important, as you just heard here. This defines a work-based learning class, and that's what these kids are in. That's the future of trades education. You get to be 16, 17, 18 years old. You've made it, you're just about to go out into the workforce. In public education, we need to be teaching you about work, how to get a job, what you're going to do. I love these work-based learning classes. We have this throughout our district. We've been supported so strongly by Great Falls. We've never lacked in community support in Great Falls. Recently, within the last 10 years, they voted to build brand new shops in Great Falls. That is amazing. We were in need of a welding shop. We're in need of an automotive shop. This city stepped up to the plate for us, said we need the trades, and they voted in. We've got state-of-the-art shops right here in Great Falls High. And I thank this city for that. I see this transformation in kids. I saw a transformation in Caleb when he was there. These kids we have in the high school house right now, I think more than half of them, last time I talked to them, have part-time jobs, pay for their own cell phone, pay for their auto insurance, pay for their gas. These kids are workers, not just at the high school house, but that's what we need to see. 16, 17, 8-year-old kids learning to work, getting these work-based courses like we have here, and then going out to the job market.
So Caleb, what would be your message to these current builders, some of the students that are coming up in some of the other classes? What's your advice to them? What they should be looking forward to?
Kind of like I said before, just taking pride. There's a lot of really cool places you could go. I mean, you can go anywhere. There's so many routes you can go down in the trades and anything. I'm a carpenter, but you can go. The sky's the limit. I mean, there's so many places you can go, and that's a good thing to look forward to. And like Mike Rowe said, it's dying. The trades are dying, and we don't have anybody there to fill it. And even I can see that working there day to day. So we need more and more people, and it's a great career to go into. Any career in the trades, you can make money as you learn, and your company invests in you for your education. And that's the biggest thing that I've taken away from the time I graduated, got out of high school, I was a student now.
It's such a good point, and I think to add to it, you should know that these people aren't leaving because of anything you said. There's
They're
clearly
ready to
another
sign up for the
class.
class.
Yes, perhaps that, because that, I mean, we were talking before, you're like, talking in front of people, I don't know how I feel about this, I'm a little uncomfortable. The poor guy gets up here and says something that smart and that memorable, and 100 people get up and walk out of the room. It could be potentially devastating. Don't let it get you down.
So with that, I'm going to ask the current builders to come up on the stage. The current builders, come on, guys. And I think we have I think we have a great opportunity today with the governor to do something that really helps us stand out and put an exclamation point on today. So if you guys kind of keep coming down here and kind of fill in beside me over here, let the governor have his space in front.
You guys are impressive. I was really impressed with the work you did, and gals. Really impressive. So I have so I wanted to make this a little special. So I have a proclamation. This is Pete Pace. This is really for you and for these students and for the great work that NeighborWorks has been doing. Whereas the high school house program, a collaboration between NeighborWorks and Great Falls Public Schools, has empowered students since 1997 to develop hands-on construction skills by building homes for community members in need. And whereas this innovative program has produced 47 homes to date, 48 coming, offering students real-world experience in the trades while addressing housing insecurity and revitalizing neighborhoods in Great Falls. And whereas the high school house program exemplifies the values of workforce development, community engagement, and economic sustainability, aligning with Montana's 406 Jobs Initiative. And whereas on November 13th, 2025, students, educators, community leaders, and guests, including actor and television star Mike Rowe, and representatives, yeah, well, good job. And representatives from Wells Fargo will gather in Great Falls to celebrate program achievements and participate in a ceremonial signing of the wall at the current build site. And whereas Wells Fargo has announced a donation of $200,000 to further the mission of the high school house program through procuring supplies and clothing for the students and securing additional plots of land for future classes. And whereas the state of Montana recognizes the importance of investing in youth, trades education, and community-driven solutions that prepare the next generation for meaningful careers and civic contribution, I therefore do hereby proclaim November 13th, 2025, High School House Day, to encourage all to support and celebrate those building a stronger future for Great Falls and our state.
Another round of applause. Thank you. So, not to be outdone, we have another presentation that we want to have. Wells Fargo and NeighborWorks the foundation wanted to make sure that they also left something for the students. And so there'll be other things coming from that wonderful grant and that opportunity, but something for each and every one of you. So Mike, if you'd come forward and grab the jacket, if we can have one of our students come. Come on. Come on over here.
Somebody's got to model this thing.
So yeah, so each student, come on over, will be getting their own high school house jacket, as well as a lovely hoodie with both the Wells Fargo and the NeighborWorks Foundation logo. So since the governor signed the proclamation, we're going to have Mike sign a jacket.
Whereas NeighborWorks Foundation is so privileged to be here, and whereas we are also aware that the future of our country rests in your capable hands, and whereas, having been to Montana once or twice before, I know how freaking cold it can get out there, we have therefore ordained that you shall be wrapped in multiple layers so that you will be forever cozy and warm in the coming winter months, where you will continue to rise with the sun and labor through the day, and lay your head down at the end of that long, long day and sleep like a baby, because you know you actually have a job that matters. Having said all that, yeah, I'll sign it. That's invisible ink, but if you look very carefully later, it will say Mike Rowe was
We'll
here.
work on the pinking areas for you.
got it.
Nice ceremonial signature. So we have jackets for each of you with your own name on it, and so we thank you so very much as the high school students for what you're doing. We thank the parents that are out there today for having your children, making sure that you invested in value of building and allowing them to be in the class. Thank you to all the support that we've gotten today through the Great Falls Public Schools and the students that have come out. We appreciate all of our audience members, our community leaders, our business leaders, but most of all, we have to say so much thanks to Wells Fargo. You haven't forgotten about us in Great Falls, and that is so important, because to you guys, it's maybe just another grant. For us, it's the next two high school houses, 49 and 50. We know how we're going to get there. Those homes will be able to serve our community for generations to come. But now we're going to allow lots of photos and do what we do really well and shake a lot of hands and say thank you. So thank you all for coming today.